because what we're going to go over tonight is the very best way to get Bernie Sanders elected the president. And then we're going to go over a more long-term strategy of ensuring that Bernie Sanders has a very successful 8 years as the president, and then a successful 50 years beyond that. Okay. Bring it back. We're going to go to March 1st, 2016. That is the day of the precinct caucus here in Colorado. Super Tuesday. Colorado's part of a bunch of other states that are going to do either primaries or caucuses on March 1st, 2016. How many of you people in this room have ever caucused before in your life? Look at that response. That's a good response. We got quite a few people. A lot of times that is very little people raising their hands to that question. But everybody who had their hands down tonight, that's okay, because after March 1st, 2016, you'll never be able to keep your hand lowered when somebody asks that question again. Because caucusing on March 1st is the most important thing that you could possibly do to elect Bernie Sanders as our next president. It's more important than voting for him in November of 2016. Because if you don't caucus for him on March 1st, 2016, you'll have no chance of ever voting for him in November. None of us will. I mean, maybe you'll get to write him in, but because of all the weird laws, like even the write-in votes probably wouldn't count. So, we have to caucus for him on March 1st, and we have to get every single one of our friends and family members to do the same thing. Like everybody, every single person that you come in contact with on a daily basis needs to be caucusing for Bernie Sanders on March 1st. It's this important. It's crucial. How do I caucus for Bernie Sanders? Well, you have to be registered as a Democrat by January 1st, 2016. A lot of people, I know this guy over here, his name is Robert. He used to be a Green Party member. I have been like a registered Republican my entire life because I grew up in a conservative household. And I never thought that I'd ever register as a Democrat, ever. But I did it. And I didn't melt. That's what I tell other Republicans. I swear to God, your skin won't melt if you register as a Democrat. So we have to get everybody that we know, especially unaffiliated people, because lots of unaffiliated people love Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is the longest serving independent congressman in US history, right? But even Bernie Sanders understands that the way this whole system is set up, he can't run as a third-party candidate. He's already even blatantly said, like 2 minutes after he announced that he was running for president, he was like, oh, and I will not run as a third-party candidate. I won't be a spoiler. Because he knows. He runs against Hillary if she gets the nomination, and he's a third-party candidate, then we're just going to elect whoever the Republican is, because that's the way our system works, right? So, we have to get Bernie the Democratic nomination. I know a lot of people that I've met through this process that are not fans of the Democrats, either because they're hardcore independents, hardcore Green Party members, whatever. Well, I tell them, you have to get over whatever prejudice you have to the Democratic Party and swallow your pride and register as a Democrat, but also get involved and stay involved as a Democrat. So, you register by January 1st. You got all your friends and your family members to register. You've canvassed your neighborhood a bunch of times, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep walking our neighborhoods, knocking on doors of Bernie Sanders supporters, and making sure that they all come out to the caucus on March 1st. Because at the caucus, we're going to talk about questions at the end, sorry. So if you do have any questions, just kind of save them, write them down if you need to, because we'll take all the questions in the world at the end. At the caucus, what we're going to do is a few things. We're going to elect delegates to a county convention. Those people at the county convention are going to elect delegates to go to a state convention. At the state convention, they're going to elect delegates to go to the national convention. At the national convention, that's where Bernie Sanders will get nominated to become the president for the Democratic Party, okay? So, I'm telling people right here in this room, all that stuff you see about Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Florida, Nevada, throw it out the window and don't even worry about it. From this point on, do not worry about any of that stuff. The only thing you should worry about is Colorado. In fact, the only thing you should really worry about is your precinct, winning your precinct for Bernie Sanders. Because if we all have this mindset, then all those people in Iowa are going to take care of Iowa. All those people in New Hampshire, they got New Hampshire. And trust me, they got it right now. Those people do. They're working their butts off. So you got to work your butt off in your neighborhood. And it's going to be really easy if you just break it down into tiny little manageable segments like that. Because that's what it all comes down to. A precinct caucus is you just meeting with all the Democrats that are interested enough to come out to the meeting on March 1st at 7 p.m. into some gymnasium. It's usually like in a gym at a middle school or like in a rec center. Big room. Each table represents your precinct. So there'll be a bunch of different tables in the room, but you only meet over here with the Democrats that live in your neighborhood. So, once you're at that table, you're going to elect somebody to run the meeting, and you're going to elect somebody to take notes, be a secretary for the meeting. Definitely try to get Bernie Sanders people in both of those positions. Just because you don't want somebody who's a lot more experienced with this and then is maybe not really into Bernie Sanders, just kind of like taking charge of the meeting and running roughshod over everything. If you've never had any experience with this, that's totally fine. You can be like, hey, I want to run the meeting. And most people don't want to do it anyway, so they're going to elect you. Trust me, that's how it works every time. So, everybody's there. We're going to take a presidential preference poll. This is the first chance that you get to vote for Bernie Sanders. And like I said earlier, it's the most important opportunity to vote for Bernie Sanders. Because that presidential preference poll, the results of that is going to determine how many delegates Bernie or Hillary gets that night. I'm going to use 2008 as a sample. In 2008, there were 55 delegates up for grabs. Barack Obama got 66% of the vote overall for the entire state on Super Tuesday. Hillary Clinton got 32%. So, automatically, it was known that Barack Obama got 35% of the delegates, or 35 delegates, and Hillary Clinton got 20 delegates. Who those people were, those specific delegates, would be determined at those things like the state convention later on another date. But the number was important. The entire world knew that Barack Obama got 35 from Colorado. And so, what I'm challenging Bernie Sanders supporters to do in 2016 is increase Barack Obama's 66% to 86% for Bernie Sanders. Wow, that's huge, that's massive. There's a reason for 86%. Because the way that the rules are set up, in order to get any delegates, your candidate has to get at least 15% of the vote in that presidential preference poll that we're going to take. So, if we get 86% and all the other candidates are left to divide 14% amongst themselves, that means we get all of the delegates. And it's crucial that we get all of the delegates because this year, the state of Colorado gets 77 delegates to go to the national convention, plus 5 alternate delegates. 13 of those 77 are super delegates. What's a super delegate? A super delegate is an elected official that's elected to either the governorship currently, like John Hickenlooper, or to the US Senate, like Senator Michael Bennet, or to the US House of Representatives, like Diana DeGette, Jared Polis, and Perlmutter. The remaining superdelegates are made up of, in the bylaws, it is written in quotation marks, distinguished party leaders. Okay, what does distinguished party? That means the establishment folks. Okay, we're gonna put it in layman's terms. So the establishment, way back in 1982, created this whole thing called superdelegates. It's basically their backstop to prevent insurgent campaigns like our own from taking over the Democratic nomination and nominating somebody that they consider is unelectable. And they used George McGovern, 1972, and Jimmy Carter in 1980 as an example of why they needed to do this. We need the establishment to use their wisdom to stop all these citizens from organizing on their own and telling us what to do. No, we know better. And so, I'm sorry, I see my little girls walking around. They're my little girls, hello. Okay, so Hillary Clinton released a report like 3 weeks ago saying, I have 20% of the delegates needed already sewn up to get the nomination. How can she possibly say that? Well, because those 20% that she's talking about are superdelegates. Because they are these politicians that are basically in her pocket. Because nobody who is smart is gonna go against Hillary Clinton this early. Nobody's gonna come out and be like, I'm for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, no, don't do that. That's not very smart if you're like a real seasoned politician. So all those people are in Hillary's pocket. So if that's the case, we have to get all the remaining potential delegates that we possibly can for Bernie Sanders. Because this is not just a presidential campaign. Oh no, sirree Bob. If any of you have the official Bernie Sanders shirt on, I don't see too many. I see that guy at the bar. He's got one. Oh, actually, if none of you have one, this kind gentleman, his name's Kevin, he brought some shirts that he purchased, and he said that you guys could take them for free. So if there's some your size, grab some. Get them. There's not that many. So get them at the end. Okay, don't be distracted, right? Okay, so at the back of that shirt, it says Bernie Sanders' slogan for this campaign, which is the world's longest presidential slogan ever. And it's awesome. It's join the political revolution today. And I make an emphasis on that last word, today. It does not say join the political revolution tomorrow, or next week, or next year, or after Bernie Sanders has gotten elected and everybody has health care. That's when you should join. No, it doesn't say that, mostly because the shirt is not big enough to fit that. It says join the political revolution today because that's what this has to be. It has to be a political revolution that's bigger than Bernie Sanders. Way bigger than Bernie Sanders. And that has to last a lot longer than Bernie Sanders could ever occupy the White House, according to our current law. So, what we have to do is not only nominate Bernie Sanders as our president, because if we elected Bernie Sanders the president today and didn't change anybody sitting in Congress, in the House of Representatives or the Senate, Bernie Sanders would have a worse presidency than Barack Obama has had for the last 5 years. Because currently, the Tea Party runs both houses of the legislative branch. And the Tea Party runs all that because they started organizing on this level, exactly like this, way back in 2008. And they saw an opening. They saw the fact that there's all these little tiny leadership positions within both of the parties, Republican and Democrat, called precinct committee people, and you get elected as a PCP the night of the caucus. So not only are we going to elect delegates for Bernie to go to the conventions, we're going to elect PCPs that have these positions for the next 2 years, and you are basically the most local leader of the Democratic Party, just for your neighborhood. And it's very minuscule, meaningless position for most people, because all you're gonna do is hand out some paperwork, maybe canvass the neighborhood once or twice a year just to make sure that the voters lists are accurate. Most people don't wanna do this. So these positions all throughout the country are completely vacant. And when you step up and you're like, hey, I wanna do this, not only do they kind of like faint and be like, what, you wanna do that? But they'll like love you forever. Because they're like, wow, thank you. Why do you want to do this? And then that's when you're going to be like, because I love Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders taught me to get involved. And then when you start getting involved with the party, those people who make up the leadership positions are going to start actually noticing that it's Bernie Sanders people showing up, doing all of the legwork, and not other people showing up. And they're going to start listening to you, and you'll be able to persuade them, and you'll be able to actually find out that you guys already think a lot alike. And hey, most of these people already like Bernie Sanders too. But you gotta show up, and you gotta be there. And not only for this 2016 election cycle, but you gotta stay there. Just like the Tea Party stayed and got all these PCP positions and district captain positions, they worked their way up, they got their people elected. When somebody in the Republican Party did something that they didn't like, they would primary them with a crazy Tea Party conservative, and then they would win. They got the second most powerful man, Eric Cantor, kicked out of Congress because they organized on this level. And so Bernie says it in his speeches, if you listen close enough, he talks about how this is not just about electing Bernie. It can't be just about electing Bernie. It has to be about electing progressives at every single level of government, from the US Senate and the House of Representatives down to your local school board and every single mayoral election and city council, everything. Everything. And so it's gonna take a lot of work, and it's gonna take a lot of time if we wanna see change. But John Boehner just stepped down a few weeks ago when he was on Face the Nation. He said, our founders created this system on purpose. It's not a parliamentary system where you just gain power and you get to do whatever you want. He said change takes a lot of time. And that's something the Tea Party doesn't understand. They think that if they just get enough power, they can do whatever they want. They can dismantle our whole federal government, because that's what they're doing right now, piece by piece, just in case you didn't know that. Because that's their philosophy. They don't believe in any government whatsoever. Trust me, I know. I know this. So we have to get in the arena, just like they're there, and we have to lace up our long distance running shoes and stick around for a long time. And so tonight I'm gonna just not only talk about the caucus and how important it is that you show up on March 1st and that you get everybody that you know, and that we get 86% of the vote that night. How are we gonna get 86% of the vote? Well, we're gonna bring a lot of people with us. A whole lot of people. In 2008, and you gotta put this in perspective, the percentage of eligible Democrats that showed up in the entire state of Colorado in caucus was like 2%. It's very low. It's very minuscule. And 2008 was a massive turnout. They're expecting a quite little bit smaller turnout for 2016. What we have to do is show the party that they are completely underestimating this year, and that so many people are going to show up, thousands of people everywhere, thousands upon thousands of Bernie Sanders supporters, because that's the only way we're going to win. The only way, if we don't just turn out in a massive force. So to do that, we're going to canvass our neighborhoods like crazy people. We did this thing called a canvas party a few weeks ago, where we invited everybody out to City Park, because we understand a lot of you people are new to this entire process, and that's okay. You've never gone up to a stranger's door and knocked on their door and started talking about politics before. And the thought of doing that is completely frightening, and I don't blame you, because it is kind of frightening, especially if they're your neighbor. Then you got to be like, hey, I'm the guy that lives across the street from you, and I've never talked to you in my life. Why do you like Donald Trump? That can be really weird. So what we do is we put together this canvas party a few weeks ago. We'll do another one pretty soon, where we pair you guys all up in groups, so you're not doing this by yourself. And we send you around door to door, just asking a few basic questions. It's not even that much. It's just, you're at the door for just a few minutes, and we're just recording key information about the support level that Bernie Sanders has out there. And then when we find Bernie Sanders people, we just make sure that they are going to be registered as Democrats by January 1st, and that they're going to their caucus on March 1st. And if, hey, you need a ride to your March 1st caucus, I live in your precinct, so you can come with me. I'll give you a ride. I'll be back here many, many times before March 1st, just to make sure that you will be there. Because we have to find these people and then just keep them in our radar. And then let's get them involved and be like, hey, do you want to canvass the precinct with me? You explain to them how important all of this is. And then bam, your work just got cut in half. You guys find another Bernie person, your work just got cut to a third. That's how we got to do this. Get everyone you find involved. Don't try to do this all on your own. Because this has to be a mass movement. A sustainable mass movement that lasts a long time. And in order to do that, we have to have grassroots of just regular people like yourself. Look at, you're here. When it says join the political revolution today, you guys already did that part, because you came to this bar and you're listening to this random guy talk to you about caucusing and canvassing for Bernie Sanders. So yeah, pat yourself on the back, because you're getting involved. But now I need you to stay involved. Okay, canvassing. Man, it can be so scary, because people are gonna slam the door in your face. People are gonna yell at you, maybe, call you a socialist, tell you to move back to Russia. That's my favorite, because you got your Bernie Sanders shirt on. You should be in Russia, right? Right? Bernie Sanders is a socialist, communist, so you gotta develop a little bit of a thick skin to go out there and do this. Don't take it personal. When they tell you to move to Russia, they don't really mean it. They don't mean like specifically you should move to Russia. So once you're off their doorstep, just brush it off. What's the expression? Be like a duck. Just be like a duck and let it just flow right off your back. Because when you're out there and you're finding people and you're knocking on their doors, this is my routine as of right now. You're gonna have your list of people. It's gonna have their name. It's gonna have their age. It's gonna have their sex. It's gonna have their party affiliation. So you're gonna go into this with a lot of information. You can target your message. You're not gonna go into this completely blind. We don't want you to do that. So you go up there, John Smith, he's an unaffiliated. He's 43. Hey, and this like middle-aged guy walks up to the door. So obviously that's John Smith. Hello, sir, is John Smith available? Yeah, I'm John. And most of these people, they don't want you to talk to them. They don't want to be bothered, right? So we got to make this quick. Hey, I'm TC Bell. I'm just walking around the neighborhood right now talking to people about the March 1st caucus. Do you have a presidential preference at this point? And that's when you kind of stop talking and let them talk. Because not only are we out there to gauge support for Bernie Sanders, we're out here to actively listen to our community and our neighborhood and find out what issues are important to them. So when he goes off and he starts telling me about how much he loves Donald Trump, I'm gonna sit there and actually listen to him for a couple minutes. Not all day, because I don't have all day. I'm not gonna argue with him and tell him how much greater, whatever. No, I'm just gonna listen, let him go off. When he's done, I'm gonna say, that's wonderful, sir. Have you heard anything about Bernie Sanders? And that's where we're gauging our support, with that one question right there. Because if somebody says to me, I don't know who Bernie Sanders is, I've never heard of that guy. To me, they don't have an opinion on Bernie, pro or negative, because they obviously have never heard of him. I call those people threes, undecided, 3s are people who just tell you they've never even heard of them. 1s are our favorite people. Those are the people that answer the door and they see your Bernie shirt and they're like, I love Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Okay, 1. Or when you ask them, hey, have you heard anything about Bernie Sanders? Yeah, I love Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is awesome. You're a 1. When they say, yeah, I've heard about Bernie Sanders, he's not electable, or he can never win, they're a 2. I call those people 2s because, hey, at least they know who Bernie Sanders is. They just don't believe in Bernie Sanders. That's where we come from. We're going to make them believe in Bernie Sanders. 4s are people who are like, yeah, I heard of Bernie Sanders. Yeah, I don't really know. We'll call them 4s because they're not really positive, right? And 5s are the people that tell you to move back to Russia. 5 means don't ever come back to this house. We just won't waste our time. It's okay. The Bernie Sanders campaign wants us to talk to everyone. Most campaigns will target, if they're a Democratic campaign, they'll target just the Democrats. Republicans will target Republicans. We want to target everyone right now. Unaffiliateds especially before January 1st, so we can make them Democrats. Because Bernie's message appeals to everyone, we want to talk to everyone, not just the Democrats. So we're going to go out there and we're going to turn a lot of people into Democrats, hopefully. Hopefully that's the plan. That's what we want to do. And then we're going to get people who already are Democrats to commit to caucusing for Bernie Sanders on March 1st. So after we've asked them, do you know anything about Bernie Sanders? We've written down that number. We ask them, can I leave this flyer with you? And hey, if there are 3 or if there are 2, maybe you can ask them, can I come back in 2 or 3 weeks and talk to you again about Bernie Sanders? And maybe in that time you can check him out a little bit more. See what you think. We're not there to cram Bernie Sanders down anyone's throat. After they've taken your flyer from you, you just say to them, I just have one more question. Are you planning on participating in the March 1st caucus? We want to write down their response. Yes or no. Yes or no. Hopefully all those 1s don't go, nope, I'm not. And if they do say no and they're a 1, that's where you got to come in and tell them how important their no has to be a yes and how they have to participate in the March 1st caucus if they like Bernie Sanders. If they're a 5 and they tell you how much they love one of the other Democratic candidates, and then you ask them, are you planning on participating in the March 1st caucus? And they say, no, we love that response right there. That's excellent. Go ahead, all day long. You can support one of the other candidates and not plan on participating. But do not let any of those 1s slip through your fingers, people. And if you have a 1, that's why we're recording their information. We're going to come back to those people. And we're going to get them involved. And we're going to make sure that they are there on March 1st to get Bernie Sanders 86% of the vote. And hopefully they're going to be like you, and they're going to want to stick around for the long term and change this country from the grassroots, because that's how we're going to have the most effective change. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. That's like my Canvas training in a nutshell. I highly recommend you guys role play with each other. Just pair off with somebody for 5 or 10 minutes, especially if it's a stranger, because you're going to be knocking on strangers' doors, right? So get together for just 5 or 10 minutes and just role play with each other. You can practice being mean to each other. You can practice that and get used to that, like, I love Donald Trump. He's going to make America great again, and slam the pretend door in each other's face. Go ahead and do that. We'll come back to this after about 5 or 10 minutes of you guys kind of just getting comfortable with role playing, and then we'll take any questions that you might have. But talk to each other. This is how we're going to have a real political revolution. We're going to build a community and get to know people that we didn't know before. All right, everybody's talking to each other. That's what I like to see. Yes, thank you so much, everybody. All right, we're gonna just kind of bring it back together real quick. If anybody has any questions, feel free. We're gonna do questions now, and then I have to go, but I want to encourage everybody to stay and continue these conversations as long as you like tonight. The Skylark generously lets us use this space free of charge every single Wednesday at 6 o'clock. So tell your friends and family if they have any questions about the caucus, if they love Bernie Sanders, tell them to come here so we can get them to know how important the caucus is.
So every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday, we're here. Yep, we're here doing the same thing. We're like a broken record at this point. I'm sure some of you people who've been here multiple times are like, I'm so sick of that guy. All right, question. Oh, Bernie's gonna be in Boulder this Saturday. If you didn't know that, I'm sure all of you knew that, right? Bernie's gonna be in Boulder, but you need tickets to be there. That's really weird, okay, I don't know. So, the tickets are free, and you gotta go up there tomorrow morning or Friday morning between like 9 and noon to get your tickets.
9 and 3.
9 and 3. So go get your tickets to go see Bernie on Saturday. Bernie will be in Boulder on Saturday at CU. But you have to have these tickets, and the tickets are free, but you have to get them tomorrow or Friday morning between 9 and 3 at the University of Boulder.
And it's a first come, first served thing. So Friday, they may not be available.
Yeah.
I have 10,000.
Okay, sir?
How about if you can't go get tickets, everybody's showing up on the campus?
Oh. Yes. Okay. So obviously, this man has the best idea because obviously we're not all going to get tickets. But I highly encourage everybody to still go. Go, 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 go. And then when you're there, find a Bernie stranger and tell them how important the caucus is. And then if they're unaffiliated, whip out your phone because I'm going to talk about this real quick. You can change your voter registration on your phone. It's this easy. You can do it on your laptop, on your PC. You tell people to go to www.govotecolorado.com. Okay? Right there, it's going to give you a whole portal to do a whole bunch of different stuff. I need all of you guys to go home tonight and go to that website. Even if you think you are a Democrat, you got to go to govotecolorado.com, govotecolorado.com, and there's a little part in the middle of the page. Hold on, this guy's got it pulled up. It says, find my registration. And then just click on it. Bam. You're going to click on find my registration. You're going to type in your last name, and go ahead and do this right now. You're going to type in your last name, your first name, your zip code that you are currently registered at, and your birthday. And that is going to pull up a page that's going to give you all the key information that you are going to need. It's going to give you, it's going to tell you your name, it's going to tell you what party you're affiliated with. This guy's a Democrat. Good job, buddy. But we're going to go down a little bit. Go on down that page. And it's going to tell you, keep on going, your district information down at the very bottom. This stuff is key, okay? It's going to tell you your county. He's in Denver County. You're going to need to know that. You're going to need to know your precinct number. Yeah. Your precinct number is this really long 10-digit number. And it's going to be right there in the middle of the page under district information, but you only need to know the last 3 digits of that extremely long number. The last 3 digits are your precinct number. But it's crucial that you know your county as well as your precinct number. Because I'm in Denver 240, but there might be an Arapahoe 240. Or Douglas County 240. So you can't just know, hey, I know my precinct number. No, you gotta also know that part. So, also on govotecolorado.com, if you find somebody who goes to that page and they find out, hey, I'm unaffiliated, Or hey, I'm a Green Party member. Well, you have them go back to govotecolorado.com and they can change their voter affiliation right there on the page with a click of a button. It's super easy. I did it. It's so easy.
It's twice he did it.
In like 6 weeks, they'll send you a postcard just ensuring that everything went through. And that's it. Bam, you're done. So you can be out there Saturday talking to Bernie Sanders people at the Bernie Sanders rally, and they're like, oh, I'm an unaffiliated voter. I love Bernie Sanders. And you're going to be like, I got to get you to be a Democrat. Take your phone out. Do this right now. This is how like passionate we have to be. We have to be kind of like crazy people right now, turning everyone into Democrats who isn't a Democrat. All right, other questions? Yes?
Okay, you said when you are canvassing the neighborhood, do you know their name, their party affiliate? How do you do this?
All right, that's a great question. How are we going to get these lists? Ooh, this is where we are kind of right now because the whole campaign is being run at a grassroots level. I am not affiliated with the campaign. Nobody is in the state of Colorado because the campaign is not officially here. Okay? So it gets really hard for us to get access to these really important lists that we need, like right now. Okay? Because technically what will happen is they'll move in and they're going to buy this program that the Democratic Party has created. It's called NGP Van. And it's an awesome program. You download it as an app onto your phone and you pull up your precinct, you log in with your information, it pulls up your precinct, it has the whole map of each house and it has all those people's names and all their information right in your phone. And as you're out there asking them how much they like Bernie Sanders, you're recording all that info right into your phone. And then you upload it when you're done, and then the campaign has all the information. They know everything. They know all these people out all over the state of Colorado are getting all these supporters. That's the efficient, effective way that we will eventually be doing it. We are not doing it that way right now because the campaign's not here. So, what I'm going to do is everybody that's interested in getting a list, and that should be everybody, right? You should all be interested in walking your neighborhood. I know some people that can give me a few different lists, depending on where you are. I know one guy who just went out of his way and I think he got the whole, he got everything. But this is where everything's really confusing right now. So it's hard. I'm telling people, go out there and canvass. But hold on to canvass because we don't really have all the tools to make you canvass successfully, right? So it makes it hard. So get with me afterwards. Find me on Facebook is the most effective way because I really got to take my kids home afterwards. TC Bell, if you're on Facebook, and then just personal message me and be like, hey dude, I went on to govotecolorado.com and I live in this precinct, in this county. Please help me. I want to get out there. That's all you got to do. And I'll help you out. All right, any other questions? Yes.
Volunteer opportunity for this weekend.
For this weekend, what do you want to do?
So it's the Saturday. It's the Saturday event at CU Boulder.
Okay.
There is the CU student group for Bernie in
Nice.
Boulder. They are in desperate need of volunteers. We need to make sure we have tons of students there. We need to make sure that we're flyering. They're looking to do some flyering and chalking events. They're looking to also reach out to the Boulder community, and they're going to need volunteers the morning of. Volunteers, especially at the DU event, typically are guaranteed seats. So if you're not able to get down to Boulder to get the in-hand tickets for Thursday or Friday, that might be a nice, easy way to, one, help the campaign, which desperately needs it. You want to make sure that a ton of people, this was really last minute, so you got a lot of flack for not letting Bernie have access to Folsom Field when he asked for it. And then now he's kind of regulated to a track, literally on campus. So we want to make sure we have a really, really strong group of people out there. We want to make sure we have a ton of people. The goal is at least 5,000.
Saturday when?
This Saturday, or it's October 10th.
The gates open at noon and the event is at 2.
Yep.
How does he sign up for that?
If you go to Bernie's, the main campaign site, and you enter in events in your area, enter in 80 201 is zip code of Boulder. The event should pop up. There is a link for volunteering.
For that
You can sign up.
particular event.
Yeah, for that particular event, they're going to have links in terms of, for having the tabling events. And also, too, they need volunteers to actually hand out the tickets as well.
So if you volunteer, you're saying that you're kind of a shoe-in to at least attend the event?
Maybe.
In every previous event, I mean, it happened that way at DU. My brother and I volunteered at DU, and we got some really nice, awesome reserved seats.
Okay.
The first 3 rows.
Got it.
So take that for what you got.
All right. Thank you. So if you want to volunteer this Saturday.
So that's Saturday.
Okay, they're saying that the gates open at noon and that it starts at 2 is what they're saying online. That's everything I've seen. So Saturday. But again, you have to have a ticket
So it's just right over campus.
to go to the event, and the tickets they're giving away tomorrow and Friday between 9 and 3 on CU campus, and they're free, and they're first come, first serve, and you have to have one of these tickets to be in there Saturday. But we're encouraging people, just go anyways, even if you don't have a ticket. Just go anyways, because that'll be awesome. All right, anything else?
Registration stuff, if you just bookmark it in your phone and have it ready for them, that's really convenient. If people don't want to talk for very long, just have it right out in front of them and offer to either text it to them or give them the address right there in person. You don't really
Most
have their
definitely.
attention for very long.
Oh yeah, you won't have their attention at all. And what I encourage people to do is actually become like verified voter registration drive people. And you can do that. You can go on the Secretary of State's website and you just take this online course that's like 20 minutes long or 30 or 40 minutes long, and you become an official person that is legally responsible for turning in these documents. You're a voter registration, you can run voter registration drives. And why I prefer voter registration drive forms over everything else, over getting people to do it on their phone, getting people to do it on their computer, is because I don't trust people enough to leave the door and then remember, I gotta go to govotecolorado.com and change my voter registration drive because I love Bernie Sanders just as much as that guy does. No, nobody loves Bernie Sanders as much as me, trust me. Okay, so they're not gonna do half the work that I want them to do. So if I can make it as easy as possible for these unaffiliated people, Green Party people, Republican people, to become Democrats right when I have them at the door, I'm a voter registration drive person. I have the form. They have to fill it out, and I am legally responsible to turn it back in. They can't take it and be like, oh, I'll mail it back in for you. Nope, that's my job. That's what the Secretary of State has like mandated me with by me taking this little class online, and you can get that too, but you can be held responsible. If they start seeing each form is numbered, so that if they start seeing certain numbers aren't being returned, they're gonna come after you, and you can get in a lot of trouble if you're not turning these forms in. So, you gotta be a very responsible person to take on this kind of responsibility, because it's huge. But, the reason why I encourage everyone to do it is because then you know that they're now a Democrat, because you're responsible for turning their paperwork in to the Secretary of State.
So, for example, if I become one of those voter registration people,
Yes.
and I organize people to go out, does everyone who goes out have to be one of those voter registration people, or can they just give the forms to me and I turn them in?
You know what, and I think you're gonna learn that when you take your course, because when I did this in 2008, I just had a woman like you who went and took the course herself, and then she got her little posse of people, and we ran the little table for her, but she was like super hardcore serious about making sure all of our forms got turned back into her, because she would then take them back to the Secretary of State. So when you're taking the course online, they'll go over that, and you can clarify that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
I'm sorry, it's called voter registration
Voter registration drive, person,
Okay.
type that into Google. I love Google, so everything I tell you tonight, just type it into Google. When you're out there canvassing, how am I going to get these flyers to leave with people that tell them information about Bernie Sanders? Do I have to create a flyer? No, you don't have to create a flyer. People already did that for us. Go to Google, type in Bernie Sanders toolkit. Super easy. Bernie Sanders Toolkit. And on that toolkit, there's all these PDF files. Canvassing 101, phone banking 101, how to put on an event. Down at the bottom, there's PDF files for flyers in color and in black and white, because we're all broke, right? Billionaires have all of our money. So you can print them off in black and white, and that's totally fine. No one's gonna be mad at you. There's even the flyer in Spanish.
Yes. And there's also another batch of flyers, I believe, on fieldofburn.org.
Fieldofburn.org. And see, that fieldofburn.org, if you guys don't know, that's not associated with the campaign. It's volunteer, like so many things with this. Fieldofburn.org is a great resource. If you're like, what is Bernie's stance on blank? There's all these different volunteers, like 125 people plus, that have gone out of their way to get Bernie's stance on every single issue you could possibly imagine, and it's all consolidated on a really easy to access website. Military, click. Healthcare, click. Bam.
And then you can get the little wallet cards, so you have all the bullet points maybe when you're canvassing or whatever.
So yeah, if you want to check that out, that's really cool. Just because people are going to ask you questions. And hey, you don't have to have the answer to every single question. That can give you an avenue to be like, you know what, I don't know. How about I check it out for you and I come back next week and we talk about it further. That's a really good in, because we're not going to talk to these people one time. We're going to come back numerous times. We're going to become their best friends. Because they're going to be like, hey, TC, I was waiting for you. Where have you been? I love Bernie Sanders now. I've been waiting for to talk to someone about Bernie Sanders. All right, any other questions? Canvassing or caucusing?
Is there a canvassing event coming up?
Not yet. I don't have one planned, but I'll plan one. The best way to stay tuned with events that are not planned yet, Colorado for Bernie Facebook page. That's my buddy Eric, he runs that. And we're just like coordinating as much as possible together in terms of like, I'll put on an event and then he just like advertises it on there like a madman. He's really good at that. Colorado for Bernie, not for Bernie Sanders. Colorado for Bernie, super easy, just like that. You can stay track of events. You can go to berniesanders.com/events and it will pull up a portal where you just type in your zip code and then all these different events that people just like myself are putting on all over the state of Colorado. You can go to somebody's house and talk about Bernie Sanders. I think some people are doing that. The debate watching party. Who knows about the debate? Next Tuesday night. Everyone should know about the debate, right? The Sanders campaign wants everybody to watch this debate. And they want you to invite your friends, especially people that like Hillary, or people that are undecided, that are on the fence about Bernie Sanders. We need everyone to tune into the debate next week. So, we're putting on a debate party at the Oriental Theater. It's in the Highlands. It seats like 500 people, so it's a lot of room. There's another woman, she's doing an event at Ophelia's, downtown Denver. It fits like 500 people. So that one's
The restaurant right downtown?
Ophelia's Electric Soapbox on the corner.
Yeah.
Yep, so they're doing one there. There's doing a bunch of them at houses all over the city. People are opening their houses up, so if you want to just go get friendly with someone in your neighborhood, you can go do that and watch the debate at their house. So check it out, berniesanders.com/events. Type your little zip code in and pull up all those different events.
All the places, all the venues be listed on that site.
All those that have registered officially with the campaign will be on that site, so you can pick it. And what's cool about them doing it by zip code, it lists it all by distance from your house. So the stuff that's closest to your house will appear at the top of the list. And then as you go further down, it's not by date. So just check when you're looking at it, it's by distance from your house. That's how they're doing that. But yeah, we do this every Wednesday night. Check out Colorado for Bernie Facebook. So when we do a canvas party in a week or two, you can RSVP for that and come to that and learn how to canvas with all your Bernie friends.
And do you sometimes start at 6:30? A lot of us like 6:30.
Oh, we do 6. We try to start close to 6. And we'll just make sure we make that clear on when we do the RSVPs again. Because I've had people show up at 5. Yeah.
Do you present what you presented tonight anywhere else in Denver or also on the board?
Oh, so that's a good question. Do I present this anywhere else? Right now I present it right here every Wednesday, but I want to be able to do it anywhere. So if you like have a group of Bernie Sanders supporters out somewhere else and they need to know this information, I'm willing to come and talk to you guys. I've driven all the way out to Aurora and talked to 7 people in a room, so I don't care. You know?
I see you're videoing, and are you gonna have, like, video
Yeah,
that
so,
people can see the seminar?
Like we just post this up on the Colorado for Bernie YouTube page, just so people can just watch this whole thing. We did an event at the Oriental Theater 2 weeks ago, and where it was like this, in front of like 400 people at one time. And we want to edit that down into a really concise, nice 5-minute video that people can watch. So stay tuned to Colorado for Bernie Facebook page, because that video will be there eventually, right? Hopefully.
So, can I ask you a question? Are you, do you have your own website? Is Facebook page Colorado for Bernie, is that your creation?
It's not. My friend Eric Joseph created it, and then I was just doing these on my own with my buddy Robert here. We're just doing these, plugging along, educating people. And he runs that Facebook page. So he has like all these followers, so we're like, let's link up, and then you can advertise this stuff to all your followers. Who am I? Why should you even listen to me? That's a great segue for this, because I think this is important. You should know why you should even be listening to this random guy on the stage. I don't work for the campaign, like I said earlier. I'm just a random dude that puts on these events, and I'm trying to empower everybody that loves Bernie Sanders with the knowledge that you guys need to actually make him the president. Because it's not enough to just like Facebook posts all day, right? Yeah, that's easy. No, we got to do a lot of hard work. So, how do I know all this stuff? Man, I used to be a Republican. Can you believe that? I grew up in a Republican household. In 2008, I got involved with the Ron Paul campaign. And so I'm used to what I call insurgent campaigns. Campaigns where the establishment does not like your candidate. And it's going to take a lot of work on the grassroots level to organize to get to a place where you're actually going to stand a chance. Well, Ron Paul, we never stood a chance, but we still worked our butts off. And that's where I learned about the whole caucus process. And trust me, the Republicans and the Democrats, their rules for caucusing are different. And the Republicans set their rules up to be way harder for a campaign like our own. So that from the very outset, you never even have a chance. Whereas the Democrats have set up the rules where it benefits a campaign like our own. Simply because of that presidential preference poll that we take on the caucus night, the Republicans don't even do that. Whereas our delegates are based on the result of that preference poll. So the idea is, if you can just flood the caucus with enough supporters, you get all the delegates. It doesn't work that way in the Republican Party. It's much harder. Okay, so because the Republican Party makes it so hard to get anything done, it causes burnout very easily. And I burned out on politics. I was like one of these hardcore libertarians that doesn't even believe in any form of government at all. And I wasn't participating. I didn't participate in 2008. I didn't vote in 2012. And then I realized, hey, that's exactly what the Koch brothers want me to be doing. They spend all this money on these libertarian think tanks telling people not to vote, telling people how unnecessary government is, but at the same time they spend billions of dollars actively electing people to office. So that's what we like to call doublethink, if you've ever read George Orwell's 1984. And so I was like, yeah, I'm done with this doublethink. I like government. It does some very good things. I've experienced the benefits in my own life with my 2 kids over there. And so I saw Bernie Sanders, and I was like, man, I love this guy. He needs to be the president. I really wanted Elizabeth Warren to be the president, to be all honest, right? Because I have 2 little girls, and I want there to be a woman president before that they're old enough to actually vote. And it needs to be Elizabeth Warren, but she's smart enough to know she can't go against Hillary Clinton. But Bernie Sanders crazy enough to go against Hillary Clinton. So I was like, all right, I'm on board with you, Bernie. And I know all the rules, right? Because I learned all the rules way back in 2008 to do this for Ron Paul. And so I was like, okay, we got to do this at the most basic grassroots level. The campaign is encouraging us to do this at the most basic grassroots level because they don't have the money to come in here, set up shop, and then tell us all what to do. No, they're operating on a shoestring. So they're devoting all that money to really important places like Iowa and New Hampshire. And we're gonna win in Iowa and New Hampshire because they're doing it like that. But it's up to us now, it's up to us to win Colorado. Because they're not here yet. As much as I like to think they'll be here soon, they'll be here soon. No, they probably won't be here very soon. Because they do conference calls with a few of us, and they're like, wow, you guys are doing awesome in Colorado. And I'm pretty sure they hang up the phone and they go, we can wait 2 or 3 more weeks in Colorado. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So there's benefits to how well we are organizing, and there's pitfalls because we can't get that access to those lists as easily. But once they're here, all of you guys are gonna know exactly what needs to be done, and all your friends are gonna know, right? And so we're all gonna be plugged in, and we're gonna get this thing going really fast. So Super Tuesday, we have, I'm telling everyone, bring 30 people from your precinct with you. That's the challenge. And when you find somebody in your precinct, challenge them to find 30 people too. It's awesome, you just made half your work easier because they can do half your precinct for you. But challenge them to bring 30 people. And then when they find someone, challenge them to bring 30 people. We have to like flood the caucus with a mass amount of people. And that's how we win. It's that easy. This is Robert, he does all the audio stuff. So he's gonna talk about maybe if you wanna find the audio version of this or like a YouTube version maybe.
Not exactly, no. I was one of the guest speakers at the Adams County Democratic dinner Saturday night. And let me tell you folks, the people are planning from the inside to keep Hillary in and Bernie out. And so what TC just said, bringing 30 people to the caucusing on March 1st is very important. It's the only way that we're going to have Bernie over Hillary, because otherwise the fix is in. The old establishment wants to keep us out. And so we need to be dedicated to this and get as many people to turn out for Bernie as possible. And secondly, Sean here took advantage of going to the Bernie Sanders site and buying one of those promo packs where you can get the street signs, the bumper stickers, and the buttons like these. So he's able to sell them tonight for a discounted price. He is not working with us. The donations do not go to us or anything. He's going to take the money and in turn buy more gear again. So please, if you need any Bernie gear, Sean has it here, and also Kevin over here has a few more t-shirts that are available too. And we really appreciate you all coming out tonight. Truly. Tell your folks, tell everybody to come out here who don't know about this. On any Wednesday, we will be here. Send people from all over the state because this is a statewide training. I mean, it applies to everybody in Colorado. Thank you very much, folks.